for Marketplace.
Stock index futures are mixed. For the S&P, down 0.1%. NASDAQ futures are up 0.1%, but Dow futures are down 0.2%. Honda and Nissan today confirmed reports they are talking about merging the year after next at a time that China sales are weak and EV conversion expensive. The home electronics and appliances company LG will stop making Blu-ray players, those higher resolution discs that make movies look better on bigger screens. Samsung bailed in 2019, seeing the streaming writing on the wall. But as Marketplace's Henry Epp reports, despite all the choices, some good stuff is not available on streaming.
For media companies, putting a movie on a streaming platform rather than Blu-ray is not only cheaper, says Michael Smith at Carnegie Mellon, it gets them data.
They get a whole lot more information about you and deepen that customer connection.
But, says Charlotte Howell at Boston University, streamers can decide to pull content whenever they want, which can lead to the realization that you're paying $15 or more a month.
And you can't guarantee that I can come back to my comfort show next month because you might take it away.
One solution is to get a physical copy of it yourself at places like Vidiot's, a video rental store in Los Angeles. Their customers aren't just cinephiles, says Executive Director Maggie McKay.
We're talking local families, we're talking older people, we're talking very little children who have no idea that what they're growing up with is sort of unlikely in the 2020s.
They've rented tens of thousands of titles, she says, since the store opened as a nonprofit last year. I'm Henry Epp for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Think or Swim. More at schwab.com. And by the full-time Plus Flex MBA program at Indiana University's Kelley School, the only 2-year program of its kind. More at go.iu.edu/KelleyFlex.
With the new Congress on the way, experts are skeptical that some kind of bipartisan consensus could form to drive changes to America's healthcare system at a time frustration with it is at a fever pitch. Among forces pushing for change beyond reactions to the murder of United Healthcare's CEO Brian Thompson earlier this month are medical claims denied by insurance companies, even if, for instance, Medicare would have approved them. The health insurer Anthem's decision to limit what it pays anesthesiologists if an operation goes overtime has been one flashpoint. Amid a backlash, Anthem canceled the change. But behind this is an ongoing tension between insurers and doctors. Marketplace's Sabri Benishore has more.
The Anthem policy would actually not have left patients on the hook for anesthesia bills. Those bills, under the now canceled policy, would have been eaten by anesthesiologists.
There's sort of an ongoing cat and mouse game between providers and insurers.
Matthew Fiedler is a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. The price an insurer pays for anesthesia or an MRI or anything is negotiated with large healthcare providers in contracts that are revisited every few years, typically. In this case, he says Anthem wasn't waiting for a new contract.
Anthem is trying to find a way to cut the prices it's paying to anesthesiologists between contract negotiations.
Anthem declined an interview request, but the company said it was only trying to clarify the, quote, appropriateness of anesthesia. Many anesthesiologists took the policy as an insinuation they were making surgeries last longer than necessary. Stephen Schaefer is professor emeritus of anesthesiology at Stanford.
That's controlled by the surgeons. And the idea that in some way we're going to slow walk a procedure is insane.
This particularly bitter episode is emblematic of a broader, ongoing fight between insurers and healthcare providers over how much healthcare should cost.
We've seen an arms race on both sides.
Larry Levitt is Executive Vice President for Health Policy at KFF. Each side is always looking for more leverage, and one way to get leverage is to get big.
There's been consolidation in the insurance market, leading to bigger and bigger insurance companies. But there's been consolidation on the hospital side.
And in this arms race, insurance companies do not actually always have the upper hand.
Not at all.
Sabrina Corlett is a research professor at Georgetown Center on Health Insurance Reforms. She says there is another battleground between insurers and physicians where insurers do loom large, and it is very visible at the doctor's office.
You may have heard the term prior authorization. So to try to constrain costs, they may require physicians to request approval in advance of delivering a service.
Doctors say this creates a major bureaucratic hassle and cost for them. Dr. Pamela Flood practices pain medicine at Stanford.
I'm constantly needing to convince them that something that's been ordered for a patient in my clinic should be paid for.
This tug of war between healthcare providers and insurers is theoretically meant to keep a lid on healthcare costs, but many experts say it does not. In New York, I'm Sabri Benishore for Marketplace.
And some context for President-elect Trump talking about taking the Panama Canal away from the country of Panama. Drought from climate change and El Nino weather patterns mean the water level in the canal has been low, limiting cargo traffic. Now, we've reported on this, yet Panama's revenue has been going not down but up due to increases in fees for ships to use the canal. I'm David Brancaccio. You're listening to the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.
Support for WNYC comes from Michelman & Robinson, LLP, a full-service national law firm dedicated to its representation of clients across industries. More information at mrllp.com.
Enjoy the festive music of the season on the Classical Holiday Channel from our sister station.